There's nothing like a book that will absolutely make you cry, and I'm very good at finding those books. My name is Marissa and I love an angsty romance. Hi guys, welcome back to Vlogmas. Today I'm going to be telling you my favorite angsty romance books. Now this is just the ones that I could find on my shelf, and then also some that I had written down. I have many more, but this would turn into like a 2-hour long video, so let me know if you want me to do a part 2, because I absolutely 100% will. These are just some of my favorites, some that I go back to and reread when I really want to have that like gut punch. So let's get started. Number 1 is Waiting on the Sidelines by Ginger Scott. This is a very good coming of age book. It starts out with our main character. She's just going into her freshman year of high school. She joins the volleyball team and she has a crush on this guy. But he has a crush on the girl that's 2 years older than him that is on the cheerleading team, and he's on the football team. And one of the first things that happen is we hear the guy talk crap about the main female character, and actually they're all kind of talking crap about her, and then he makes a really mean comment basically about her looks and very upset, and that is how this whole thing kind of starts. Then they get grouped together on a project, feelings develop, there's a lot of back and forth, there's a lot of reasons why they end up not being able to be together, and they finally get together at one part in this book, but something happens that absolutely tears them apart. And just the back and forth and the angst and the external factors that are keeping them apart, just like, I finished this so fast, and it's something that I go back and reread all the time because I love Ginger's writing. And there's also a second gen to this series, so if you finish this, you should definitely give that a chance because it's very good. Every time I do an angsty romance book recommendation video, I would be remiss if I did not include the Jessica Hawkins Something in the Way series. This series had me in a chokehold. I have only reread it, I think, fully once. Sometimes I go back and reread the second book when I want to like really feel pain, because the first book is very good, but the second book is where that angst like really truly kicks in. The end of the first book, the second book, that angst just gets you. Basically, she falls in love with this guy, but he is with her sister. So she sees him, the whole like book is like she sees him first, but then her sister sees him and her sister wants him, and he gets together with her sister. You kind of can tell that he wants to be with her and she wants to be with him, and there's a reason that he's with his sister, and he does have love for the sister, but he does not in love with her like he is with the main female character. And there are so many scenes in this book where you're thinking, oh my god, they're finally gonna get together, and something happens and you're like, why would you say that? Why would you do that if you knew blank, 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 blank? Like, it's so good, and I love the way that the relationships are shown, especially with her parents. Her relationship with her parents is very different than her sister's relationship with her parents, and her sister's expectations are very different than her expectations with her parents. So like, one of the main things in this is that her dad does not think he is good enough for her, but he has no problem with her older sister being with him. Something that's also very interesting, if you look close enough, the female model for this cover is Miranda from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. This is one of my favorite series ever, and I never realized that the female model cover is Miranda. So I just think that's like a really fun fact tidbit when you're going into that. If you see it and you're like, hey, that girl looks familiar, that's because it's Miranda. Oh gosh, I'm bringing the angst today. This is the Carnage Duet by Leslie Jones. If you just like to cry, like you just love crying throughout a lot of the book, this is the series for you. Because this is also a brother's best friend. She falls for her brother's best friend. Her brother is in a band, and they go off and they have all this success, and there's all these girls and drugs and money, and they kind of get sucked into it, and something happens and between her and the brother's best friend. But then they get, they get together, they kind of start making it work. But in that meantime, she meets this other guy who really treats her well, and she really falls for him. And throughout, what's going on, you don't know who you want her to be with. And it's a story of love, of loss, of friendship. It will just have moments that make you absolutely crack up because the friendships are so good and the back and forth is so good. And then it's also going to have moments where you're like, Marissa, why would you ever recommend a book like this to me? You are literally the devil. And to that I say, if I had to experience the pain, then I think you should also have to experience the pain. This one is a little bit on the sweeter side, but it's Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This one was a all-time for me. I think I first read it in 2022 or 2023. This is when Book Talk was like really popping. Maybe it was even 2021. This is when like Book Talk was on and popping. And this is one that I always go back to because it's coming of age, it's first love, it's miscommunication, it's something happened that they didn't really realize was happening and they kind of took it as something else. And it's her first love and it's his first love. And one of my favorite scenes in this, and I don't feel like it's necessarily a spoiler because this is a second chance romance, the moment, and I do literally mean the moment that he comes back into her life, he goes and he's like, oh, I gotta break up with my girlfriend now. Yeah, homie has a full-fledged girlfriend. He's like, oh, I had the opportunity to be with her again. I gotta end things. And I love that. A man who yearns is a man who earns in my book, and I feel like this man does some serious yearning. But I really love especially the scenes when they're kids and when they're teenagers, because you can kind of see them both like developing feelings for each other, and they don't live in the same town. So it's that tale as old as time where like you kind of meet somebody on vacation or you meet somebody in a town you don't live in. So like their life in like the summer or in that little time that you're there on vacation, that's the only reality that you know. You don't realize that they have this whole other life, all these friends, all these people. So there's also a scene where like she realizes that he has like kissed other girls and she's like, you know other women? And it's like, how dare you? But that's reality. That's how it is. And I love how that kind of comes about because it kind of just makes you feel like a kid again. The Wrong Bride by Katharina Mora. This I feel like does not get the attention that it deserves because clearly you can see there's kind of a pattern here. I love the sister's boyfriend or the sister's love interest trope. There's something that's always going to do that for me because I feel like sister relationships are already complicated enough as it is, and if you throw in a boy in there, I just feel like it makes it extra complicated. I really love it when the sisters end up coming together, or they end up kind of seeing like, oh, maybe we were both wrong, and there's kind of conflict resolution there. I'll just be honest with you, I don't think the sister in this book ever thinks she was wrong. She's kind of like the worst person ever in life, and I really love the we shouldn't be doing this, but we're going to be doing it anyway moment that's in this. And I love the pining and I love the yearning kind of on both sides. Raven has to marry her sister's fiance because they're in this kind of contract marriage agreement, and she was originally supposed to be the girl that married this guy, but then her sister like kind of caught him and they fell in love, and so she was able to take her place in this like contract of marriages that we have going on. And then she backs out of the marriage, and the grandmother who set this all up is like, well, somebody's taking her place. And because you were the one that I originally picked out, you were gonna do it, or X, Y, and Z. And so she's like, she's always been in love with him anyway. So but it's not like, she doesn't even feel like she's winning anything, because it's like, yeah, I've always been in love with you, but I wanted you to choose me, and it was supposed to be me, but you picked my sister. So now she's kind of getting what she always wanted, but she's not getting it in the way that she wanted, and she really feels like she is the leftovers essentially, and he has to prove to her like, no, that's not even how I feel. And of course the sister comes back and she causes an immense amount of chaos, but I love the chaos and I love the drama and I love the angst. Next we have June 1st by Jennifer Hartman. Also another like underrated book, I feel. It's a brother's best friend, and so the thing about a brother's best friend, right? I do not like it when like all of it comes out, right? They come out that they've been together, they've been secretly dating or whatever, and the brother's like, oh, it's cool. The whole point of a brother's best friend is that the brother is supposed to not want it to happen. Now, realistically, I'm married to a guy that was friends with my brother, so it really wasn't too big of a deal. But I love in fiction where it is a big deal, where the brother is overprotective when we have those tropes because it's fiction. We're playing up, you know, all these things. So I love when the brother is like, absolutely not. They're gonna fight. There's gonna be this conflict. The whole point of a brother's best friend, the whole conflict, is that he's going to be mad. And this does not. Like, the brother is pissed. And, you know, he's also older. There's also a little bit of an age gap there. There's yearning. There's that pining. There's that angst. It's perfection. And if you haven't read this one, you definitely do need to read it. I also do love reading it around June 1st because it's just like, you know, it's just very on the head, on the nose, but it's very good. You can read it at any point, any given time. A couple of ones that I don't have on me right now. One of the ones is Unloved by Peyton Corinne. It's kind of, it gives me a little bit of like Boys of Tommen vibes. I said that when I was recommending the next book in that series in my last video, but I love how those two characters kind of come together, and I love how they keep showing up at so he is a hockey player, and she comes in and she's skating, and she has all this stuff going on at home. Like, she has a bad home life, and they keep kind of meeting up, and he, bless his heart, like keeps kind of digging and pushing for her to tell him what's going on, and he can tell that things aren't as they seem, and he really just tries to help her. And they're both like not looking for a relationship, they're not looking for love, they're not looking for any of that, but of course when you spend that much time together and you keep coming together, that's what ends up happening. And there's not a lot of books that give me Boys of Tommen, Johnny Shannon vibes, and this gives me Johnny Shannon vibes. Then The Naked Fisherman by Julie Ann is so good. So this girl goes to Colorado. She thinks she's spending time with her mom, and her mom's like, hey, sorry, I actually have to go. You're gonna be alone in this space that I rent, and you're just gonna have to figure it out there. It's in Colorado. And she ends up working for the landlord that is renting her mom / her place, and the guy is like a lot older than her, and they fall into this relationship kind of. It is so angsty. It is so like almost forbidden, and I love an age gap, and I love forbidden. I'm not gonna say too much on it because I don't want to give anything away, but it is very good and very angsty. Their Julie Ann book is on my list. This one is called If This Is Love, and this one is so angsty. So this girl falls in love with the cowboy who is kind of her family's right-hand man. She was adopted, but she has her adopted parents, grandparents, whatever you want to call them. Her adoptive parents don't. The mom was great. The mother who wanted to adopt her, she was great. But the guy, the dad who adopted her, he like runs this business. He's got this cowboy, this ranch man who lives, you know, on the property, and she has been in love with him forever, and she's always had a thing for him. And you can tell eventually like he kind of developed feelings for her, but her cousin is the one who ends up like getting engaged to him, and they like basically are like, you've got to marry her. And she's like, by the way, the cousin is terrible, treats her like crap, all the family members treat her like crap, and there's like a million reasons why these two shouldn't be together, why she should never even be like anywhere near his barn, and she's always there, and they're like magnets, they can't stay away from each other. It is so angsty. I mean, it's another one of those books where you're gonna be like, Marissa, why would you recommend this? Wreck My World by Victoria Ashley. I hate to say this, but it is another sister's boyfriend book. But the worst part about this one, the sister is no longer alive in the story. She actually is not. She's dead, okay? And her and her sister's boyfriend have always had a thing for each other, and throughout the series, or throughout the book, you're always like, why did he end up getting with the sister? And you find out. But those two were together on the day that the sister died, so she has extreme guilt about it. He has extreme guilt about it. But he comes back in on his motorcycle years later, and she's like, where have you been? You just disappeared. Who do you think you are, coming back into our lives like this? And what I really like about it though is they have one of those really cool close-knit friend groups, and they have all kind of stuck around their hometown after graduation. They all still kind of hang out, but there's always drama, and there's things that have happened within that friend group. And she's like, you can't just come back and slip right in like and pretend like nothing's gonna happen. And he's like, yeah, watch me, I'm here for you. And it's good. Another book that you will sob 90% of the time. I remember waking my husband up. This was years ago when I first read it. I remember waking him up and him like absolutely sobbing, and him being like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, this book. It's called 4 Years Later by Emma Doherty. Listen, the first book is like a very cutesy, fun, rom-com young adult book. It's called 4 Doors Down. Very cute. If you are like me, I'm just gonna warn you right now, do not go into the next book 4 years later thinking this is going to be a continuation. No. This book is about absolute pain. Something terrible happens to our main character, and she is not believed throughout most of the book. It's not even that she's not believed. She doesn't ever really tell her true story about what happened. I think you can kind of fill in the blanks about what I'm saying. I don't want to say too much. But her boyfriend, her friends that she had, like, that she shared with her boyfriend, people from her hometown, literally everybody blames her for this thing that happened and calls her horrible names. And it is her journey of going through that and her story of overcoming that and kind of what happens when that happens to a young woman. And it was so beautifully written and so well done. I have only ever read it fully through one time because I was so you do have to like understand that going into it, because it is one of those books that will just really rip your heart out. And I don't even, this isn't even one of those ones where like, oh, it's angsty, it's fun, it hurts so good. This is one of those ones that like you have to prepare yourself for, but the story is so beautiful that it's worth it. So I'm putting that on there because it is one of my most top rated books, but it's horrible, it's sad, it's awful. Next is Heartache and Hope by Jay McLean. This book does give me a little bit of Boys of Tom and Janie and Shannon vibes. Johnny and Shannon vibes, because our main female character is kind of a recluse. She lives with her mom. Her mom is a war veteran, but she also has like a lot of problems, a lot of PTSD, and so she's there to take care of her. She is like one of her mom's main caretakers, and everybody in her school kind of knows that like that's her deal. She doesn't come to parties, she doesn't really go out, she doesn't really mingle or talk to anybody. This new guy comes in and he's like, oh my god, who's this girl? She's so beautiful, she's so funny and smart, I like her, I want to hang out with her. And everybody's like, oh, she kind of does her own thing, but like you can come hang out with us. And he's just like huge basketball star. It also gives a little bit like Nathan and Haley vibes, a little bit. And so like he's very sought after, he's very popular, and he just can't stay away from this girl who like cannot come to support him at his games. She cannot join him at parties. She cannot live a normal high school life. And he's like, I don't care, I want to be with you. And it's really cool, it's really beautiful, but those accentuating circumstances come back to bite them both in the ass, because she's like, oh my gosh, here's this guy who wants to treat me right, he wants to bring me out of my shell, and I want to be that for him. And then you have him who's like, I want to be there for her, I want to do all this, but he doesn't really realize what he's taking on. And I feel so bad for both of them, because they're both in like really hard positions where you can tell they really want to be with each other, but there are so many things out of both of their control that it causes a lot of friction and it causes a lot of angst. The next book is the Broken and Screwed series by T-Jin. Oh, one of my absolute favorites. It's a brother's best friend, but the brother is dead. So that just makes the whole like brother's best friend stakes up a notch, because she really wants to be with him, and he's like, your brother would absolutely hate this. And they actually only have this like, not even friends with benefits, there's just like, we share a person we loved, acquaintance with benefits situation going on. They only ever hook up on like her brother's birthday, the anniversary of her brother's death, when they're both missing him and they come together. But like one of my favorite scenes is he's going off to college, right? And he's like, don't have a boyfriend when I come back. And she's like, excuse me? I mean, I'm gonna listen to you, but excuse me? And it's really good. I really like it. I really like it when she's also in college, because it starts out where she's a senior in high school and then she goes to college, and there's a lot of things that happen. It's one of my favorite T-Jin series of all time. Last but not least is the Gray Springs University series by Ella Fields. So much angst in a series, it is insane. One of my favorites is Suddenly Forbidden by Ella Fields. It is a girl and a guy, high school sweethearts. They grew up together. She ends up having to move away, and like she's heartbroken, he's heartbroken. Everybody in their lives are like, you guys, you can't be together, like it's too much, you're putting too much pressure on yourself, like you both need to just break apart. And so they do, but she keeps her promise of them going to the same university, and when she gets there, she can't wait to see them. Who does she see him kissing on the first day? Her ex-best friend. Her ex-best friend who pushed her to break up with him. She's distraught, she's upset, and he's like, I don't know why you're mad at me. You basically broke up with me, like, you can't be mad at me for getting with her, da-da-da. So then one of his teammates is like, I want to take her out, like, she looks like a nice girl. And he's like, whoa, that's my ex-girlfriend, bro. And he's like, yeah, but ex-girlfriend for a reason. So then that happens, and then he gets insanely jealous. We get an insanely jealous ex moment. They just can't stay away from each other. And the new girlfriend is like, hey, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? And it's very, very angsty. Very angsty. And then there's another couple in that series who also, there's a ton of angst. They make a cameo in that book where they're both like trying not to be with each other and date other people. And you can't stay away from each other. And the angst is out of this world, over the top. It's incredible. So that's going to be part 1 of my angsty romance recommendation series. If you want another, that's going to be part 1 of my angsty romance book recommendations. If you want part 2, please let me know, because I love angsty books and I love to talk about angsty books and I love to be hurt by angsty books. So that's all for today's vlog for Vlogmas, and I will see you tomorrow.